Hey, it's Matt Champ here with my first real video on YouTube. This one will be a more casual talk on my experiences with mathematics in school, along with some problems and possible solutions people can have with hating mathematics. I currently live in the US, and my education was in the same set of schools my whole life, so my personal experiences are from a very specific niche of education. In the background, I'll have some problems of varying levels that I have conjured up for background learning and absorption of the video topic. My personal story with mathematics started back when I was a 3-year-old. I highly enjoyed numbers and things to do with them, so my parents bought me a timer and calculator as presents instead of the typical toys a 3-year-old enjoys. Why did I enjoy these types of toys? I guess it would be my obsession with math and numbers. That hasn't really faded over the years, and my parents knew I would get more enjoyment out of those toys instead of the typical toys. It seems that this love of numbers wasn't a phase, so by the time I was in first grade, I was learning multiplication and long division. My first grade teacher was not a fan of my beaming ahead of the usual students, so when I did a mental mathematics problem in my head for counting crayons on the floor, basically Rain Man, but a 6-year-old, he wasn't happy at all. Thankfully, due to the diligence of my parents, I was able to keep receiving a highly accelerated math education. In second grade, there was a web program that my school used called Math Facts in a Flash by Renaissance, where multiple math concepts were provided in a quick format. The school year started in August for me, but by October, I had completed the entire course from addition all the way to exponents and square roots. This was while the usual student only had to complete a certain amount of content throughout the year. Basically, no exponents or no square roots. Because I finished the course so early, I ended up doing an accelerated math program in which I was able to go 3 to 4 years ahead of the normal student in my school system. So basically, I would be in a 5th to 6th grade level math as a second grader. Then, starting from 3rd grade to 7th grade, I had one-on-one tutoring with 2 different teachers in middle school and high school math classes. I started in a sort of pre-algebra concepts in 3rd grade, pre-algebra in 4th grade, algebra 1 in 5th grade, algebra 2 in 6th grade, and finally geometry in 7th grade. By the time I was in 8th grade, I was little enough to go to the high school to take math classes in a high school setting, so I went ahead and took geometry, again, and pre-calculus at the high school near me. Basically, during the high school classes, I ended up going at a different period than some of the other students who ended up taking Algebra 1 in 7th grade and then took Algebra 2 in 8th grade. So I had to take the bus instead so I wouldn't be walking by myself to the high school. Then in high school, I took calculus as a freshman and probability and statistics as a sophomore. Then there were no more math classes for me to take. This is where the story of the accelerated math progress took a standstill. It was the end of my sophomore year, and I didn't have any more math classes to take. So my guidance counselor decided to start an online program where I would take the next level of calculus, since the next level of calculus wasn't being offered in person at my high school. So I went ahead and took the class online. I absolutely hated it. The problem with taking calculus online was that I had no experience taking a class online with no set due dates. So what I did was I procrastinated a lot. This was also my junior year, and senioritis picked up a year early for me, so I had major levels of apathy. I took the class and still got through it, but then something bad happened. The second semester of the next calculus class wasn't being offered through the online program, so I could not take a full calculus class, and I had a major disadvantage on the AP test for that calculus class. So I had to take another online class, AP Computer Science, so I could fill the time slot. And in that class, I procrastinated even more than calculus, enough to the point where I finished the class in 3 weeks at the end of the semester. I'm glad I took the class though, since the experience helped me with my computer science minor I'm currently doing. In my senior year, to prepare for college, I took the first year of calculus again. It also helped to be in a math class where I was with students my own age again, after being so long without that luxury. While I do look back at my school years fondly, I could tell there was a couple major issues that inhibited my ability to fully succeed in mathematics. The first issue was that I had the same few teachers throughout my entire school career. I had one teacher from 3rd grade to 5th grade, one from 6th to 7th, and one throughout high school. I had little variation in math teachers, so it lessened my perspective on math. And if I had a bad math teacher, it could have spelled doom for my love of math. Now, for some students, this is not a problem since they go along in math at a normal pace with many different teachers, but for accelerated students or students in a very small school setting, this can inhibit their abilities in math greatly depending on the type of teacher they get. The second issue was that I had no opportunities besides what my high school could offer me. I did not live near a college with high level math classes whatsoever, so there was no ability for me to take dual math classes. And that really throws a wrench into any possibility for me to take these higher level math classes earlier than the average student. Online college could have been an option, but I would have had to pull a lot of strings to get into a program without a high school diploma, and through my experience junior year, it definitely would not have been a good fit for me. When I look at these issues, one point is truly apparent. Opportunities for students to succeed do not rest solely on their abilities. If their environment does not foster their abilities well enough, then they will be forced into stagnation, which could remove their ability to fully go and do what they want to do. Math is no exception to this rule, and it might be even more dependent on their environment than other subjects and skills. Since math is a subject that builds upon itself, one little change to the environment can negatively impact a student's ability to succeed in all areas of math. Take, for example, a bad teacher. One bad teacher in a fundamental area of math, like Algebra 1, could ruin the chance for someone to understand higher level math concepts. That's a reason why you see many adults who say, oh, I can add and subtract really easily, but once it gets to algebra, I don't understand at all. The students who truly succeed and go to the best colleges both have a good ability and good environment. I had a good ability, but not necessarily a good environment. My parents had to fight for multiple opportunities for me to work in higher level math classes, and even then, they could only do so much once high school rolled around. If the environment was better, then my success could possibly be better, but it's not important to look at the past you can't control, but the present and future you can change. So, if you want to make a difference in the kids in school that are in your life, please help to provide the best possible environment for them to succeed. This has been Math Champ, and while my points might be opinions, math definitely isn't.